Welcome to Optimal Timelines. My name is Sean, and this is going to be your April 2025 relationship full moon readings for your North Node by sign and house. Now, if you're new to my channel, the reason I use the North Node in tarot readings as opposed to your sun, moon, or ascendant sign is that it's recognized in astrology your North Node is like your North Star. It's what you're here to learn, accomplish, and master in this lifetime. So it's much more relevant to your everyday life and relationships, and much more accurate in tarot readings. Now remember, you're going to want to watch two readings, one for your North Node by sign and one for your North Node by house. Now, the interesting thing about relationships is that they can act like mirrors in our life. They can reflect back parts of ourselves that we don't normally see. So whether they're intimate partnerships, work relationships, friends, or family, they can be our greatest teachers in life. So with that, I'm going to connect to the energies and we can begin. I call upon my spirit guides, guardians, and the wisdom of my ancestors to bring forth the information that's true and correct for all who see and hear this reading, that it may bring them the most beautiful, happy life possible and set them on their most optimal future timeline. So may it be. Okay, North Node in Aries and or the first house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Temperance card reversed. And what I'm thinking for you North Nodes and Aries under the first house is that the overall situation about a relationship in your life for the month of April is that there could be issues regarding like something that needs to take place internally between yourself and the other. Like it could be like inner healing. There could be some sort of inner work going on, like possible, like wanting to work things out or balance things out. Now, for some of you, sometimes the Temperance card reverse could be like, for some of you, it could be issues with some sort of addictions. Now, addictions don't have to necessarily just be physical addictions. They could be things of just like addicted ways of being. Could be even like, gambling, food, or, any sort of things like that. Okay. So not only physical, but there could be addictions to, like I said, ways of being, especially emotional ways of being. And so there's a balancing and a healing that is needing to happen within this relationship in your life, meaning that there's something internally, is what this is saying, internally that needs to happen between you and this other person, or it could be multiple people, something internally that has to change. Now, the overall issue that's coming up is you have this reversed Ace of Pentacles, okay? Now, there's something for a lot of you that is regarding like things of value. So this could mean like things that have to do with like money, finances, real estate, property, investments, things are possessions, things of that nature, but also things of a non-physical nature for some of you. So what are things of value that that we can give, which is our time, our love? Those are very, very valuable. And that's what the Pentacles could also be speaking about. And so there's an issue regarding that of things of value in our life. If it's something to do with like our time and our love and our effort, it could be like where there could be an imbalance there, where in other words, one or more parties within this relationship could feel like they're not getting what they're putting in. They're not getting back something equal. There's an imbalance there, okay? And so whether that is something that is of a physical nature, it could be both, or a non-physical nature, it is something of value. Now, what's underlying all of this is you've got the Five of Cups reversed, and you've got the Seven of Cups reversed. What this is saying is that whatever the situation is, there is some history to it, meaning that even though this situation for some of you might be something new that pops up, it's something that has its place in the past. Like it could be something that was kind of ongoing. Now, the good news about the Five of Cups reversed is that all the 5 cards are positive cards when they're reversed. It means that there's some healing taking place, but there could still be some, like, bad feelings that aren't quite cleared out yet. So it's something that's in process, but it's something that has taken place. Like maybe it was hurts, or emotional hurts that have taken place in the past, and so they could be hard. You're trying to get over them, they're trying to get over them, both parties in this relationship situation. But as I said, it has roots in the past. And then what the 7 of Cups reversed is saying is that there one of the things that needs to take place is there needs to be decisions made. Okay, because the 7 of Cups is like there's like like emotional confusion, not knowing which way to go in a situation. And the only way to do that is, like, one or both people have to start making some decisions. And I feel like the decisions haven't been made. Maybe they've been, like, put off. Maybe you feel like you know what you want to do or what you need to do, but there could have been like a delay. And so it's leaving you in this kind of like middle state of limbo type of a thing. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. But ultimately what it requires is it requires more of a decision, and clarity has to come in. So some sort of a decision has to be made, like, how are you supposed to handle it? Now, for your North Node in Aries, as I said, for each of these relationship situations, that's going to be different. But essentially, for your North Node in Aries of the first house, I can always say that when you choose the path of the more Aries or first house way, you're going to be better off, which means that you may have to set some tough boundaries with this other person. You may have to do some things that seem uncomfortable. You can't always be the peacemaker. You can't always be the person that gives in. And so could be what this is saying, is because it's difficult to make that decision. When you take an Aries North Node or Aries in the first house and you tell them, hey, you know what? You got to set boundaries with this person. And they don't have a history of setting boundaries because they've let this other party kind of get away with things. It's very uncomfortable, right? So I think that there's some things that, or I'm getting the energy of like dilly-dallying or putting things off, and it's not going to heal itself on its own. So just always remember, with your North Node, taking bold, impulsive action is actually good for you. Impulsiveness is not a bad word for you, okay? Always doing things what you feel is right in your gut. If you follow your instincts, follow your gut instincts, and if you do what's bold, if you do things that are more in that kind of Mars Aries way, it's going to come out better, okay? But just remember that there is this sort of imbalance, and the only way it's going to get balanced is if you begin to, like, make a decision and move forward with that decision in some sort of a bold way. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal relationship reading or a personal tarot reading, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Taurus and or the second house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is this Emperor card reversed. Now, the Emperor card is a card that can mean someone who is in a place of authority in our lives. I feel this card is talking about not only you, but it's talking about the other party, okay, the other person, or could be people involved, okay? So you and the other. Now, authority figures can be everything from, beginning to be, it could be like parental, so, mother, father. It could be older people in our life. It could be bosses or supervisors. Okay, so for some of you, this could be work related, or it could be even like, teachers or professors. So anybody in, even like government authorities. Okay, so people in authority in our life. But as I always say, this also could be in intimate partnerships, okay? Even friends, family, okay? Anyone who's important in our life. So the reason I always say, the reason that a person is an authority figure in our life, if is anyone that we place at a high value. Okay, so it's not that they're an authority figure over us necessarily. If it's a boss or supervisor, yes, that's the case. Or if we're younger, like our parents, right? But in an intimate partnership or in a friendship, the reason that this could be an authority figure is because we care about them and we care what they think, and they should care about us, right? So we put them at high importance, right? So for whoever this is, I think it's you and this other person, but it's almost like there's an imbalance where either someone isn't recognizing the other or honoring the person's authority or place. Like it could be like an element of um, almost like not caring or almost like disrespect. It could feel like coming from both, where like both parties aren't seeing eye to eye because of this like not honoring or putting them with a level of importance. So it's almost like it could be like being taken for granted sometimes, you know what I mean, where we're not giving the proper due to that other person, or like vice versa, right? So there's some issue there. And as I said, for some of you it could be work, it could be family, friends, intimate partnerships, or something else, even parental situations. Now where it's going is, you have the death card here. Now the death card is nothing to fear about. When I always talk about the scary cards in the tarot, death very rarely means like actual death. It usually means transformation of some sort. So something within this relationship that I'm talking about for April has to change. Something needs to transform, because it's gone, like I get the feeling like it's gone to this limit where there's nowhere else to go but change. So let's say that like it's a very difficult work relationship, right? Something within that work relationship with this other person who's an authority figure has to change, okay, in order for you to be happy, for them to be happy. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean like leaving that job, or if this is a partnership of some sort, it doesn't necessarily mean, but something has to give is what I'm getting in this. And so it can happen, but it can't keep going on like this. It's not going to heal on its own. Something has to change within that. And your advice cards down here and the underlying cards are, you've got the Four of Cups reversed, and you've got the Six of Swords reversed. So, the Six of Swords here, you could see that this is a boat carrying people mentally away. They've got swords as the mental capacity of people, and they're moving away from troubled waters. They're needing to move away from something that is upsetting, something that doesn't feel right, doesn't seem right to them. It's like these troubled waters that they're leaving, but it's reversed. And so what's happening is that for some reason you and the other person, you're not able to move from this situation. It's like feeling stuck, or the boat's going around in circles and you're not able to leave the bad, or feeling like you can't leave the bad situation. And what this is causing is, you've got this reversed Four of Cups, is it's causing, like emotional distress, emotional discontent. And it's, as I said, it's not going to heal on its own. So something within this relationship dynamic has to change. What are some of the things that can change? Well, we could take steps where we need to figure out what's the best way to handle it. Do we need to, can we work with this situation in person? Can we work things out? I don't know. For each of you, it's different. But there's something, with this Four of Cups, there's something that you're not seeing in this situation. It's almost like the reason it's stuck is because one or more parties within this relationship dynamic aren't seeing a piece of the puzzle. Like, what I mean by that is how we've all had the experience where we may have thoughts and feelings about something in our life, And then all of a sudden, something that never occurred to us all of a sudden occurs to us. And we're like, it's like that, oh, I didn't see that before. We've all had that, right? And so that there's a missing piece of the puzzle regarding this that you have to find. But the first step in doing it is just realizing that it has to change one way or the other. Find that missing piece. I think what I'm seeing here is search your mind and your emotions and try to put out everything that you've thought and felt in the past about this, and try to seek what's new. Try to see it and feel it in a new way, because I think you're going to find that missing piece of the puzzle. And when you do, that's how this is going to get solved. But just realize that for sure something has to change within this. It's not going to just go away. And in order for this to move forward, this relationship in your life, it's definitely going to have to change and evolve in some way. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you'd like your chart analyzed, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Gemini and or the third house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Wheel of Fortune. And this is interesting because I feel like that this month, this relationship situation for you North Nodes in Gemini or the third house is very karmic in nature, where it has to do with kind of leveling up on a skill set that's going to kind of put you forward on your path in a more positive way. The other thing this is saying is that for a lot of you North Nodes in Gemini, that you're coming into an upswing in your life. Like our lives are always like the tide, they roll in, they roll out, it ebbs and flows, and we have up cycles and we have down cycles. And I feel like a lot of you are, as we're coming into June, July, which is kind of getting into your Gemini season, you're more on the upswing. But essentially this relationship situation has a chance to kind of level you up on your skill set. Now, the card that popped out over here, that is the situation, is the reversed Ace of Swords. And I feel like this situation for this month, this relationship situation, I feel for a lot of you, it's either going to be a work situation or something regarding the work that you do. So for example, let's say you are a stay-at-home parent or you're a stay-at-home person, something that work that you've done, either in your business or privately. Okay, so like if it's a stay-at-home parent, let's say someone that is criticizing the work you do at home, okay, whatever it is, but it's something about your work, okay, something that you're doing. And what wants to happen is that there's going to be something that's going to be really critical communication wise with this, okay, where there's going to be communication that's going to come in, and it's not going to like maybe sit well with you. And there also could be miscommunication regarding the other party within this relationship, where like they're not understanding where you're coming from and not hearing you, and kind of vice versa. So there's some issue with communication. And what you want to do is you want to approach this in a way that is making sure the communication is not of a sharp nature, meaning that if one party gets triggered, we can't control the people, we can only control ourselves. But when something is coming in and we don't really like the communication, we have the control of how we can respond to it, how we can respond to that email or that text or whatever phone call or whatever it is. And so that's what I'm getting here, is that this is like a kind of a test of how well you can communicate, because your North Node in Gemini or the third house, one of the things that rules, the planet Mercury rules it. And so we're talking about communication. And so it's really important to make sure that we are clear and direct with our communication, but also not being triggered by other people's like communication towards us. Now, the underlying features of this situation in this relationship is you've got the Page of Cups upright and you've got the Eight of Pentacles. Now, the page is interesting because the page, one of the things that the pages can be is it can be a younger person. So it could be like a child or a younger person or a childish type of a person, okay? And that's kind of what I'm feeling like with this situation is they actually could be a younger person or maybe just be acting childishly. And that's what could be kind of triggering. Now, one of the things that is interesting about your North Node is that you're here to learn different ways. Like it's like your life is almost like a puzzle. Like you need to learn different ways of handling situations in a clever way. That's a word that relates to your North Node, cleverness, ingenuity. Okay, different ways of doing. There's not just one way to approach situations. There's lots of different ways. So it's that like thinking outside the box and kind of ingenuity type of a thing. So I feel like this is going to revolve around a younger person and it's going to revolve work in some way. Now, for some of you, it could be the work maybe that they're not doing. Maybe it's a child in your life, or maybe it's even like a childish person you work with, okay? But it's something regarding your work and or their work, and there's some sort of an issue with that. And you know, the way to get through this, as I said, is the key is think of the best ways to communicate that are going to get your point across. Because I think that the trigger point when this happens, it could cause, you know, us to do things where we send that text or email that we wish we didn't send, or we say the thing that we wish we didn't say. And so if you kind of pause and think about your communication and you're clever with it, and you have some ingenuity with how you approach the situation, it's going to work out better. So yeah, and when you do this, the great thing about this Wheel of Fortune is I feel like this is one of these times where if you can navigate this in a good way, it could really be this like leveling up for you, you know, and you're getting like almost like plus points from the universe. But yeah, in a real positive way. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. And as I said, this could reflect, you know, something that you're doing every day, or that they're doing. And part of this work card here is also saying that this is a skill building set for you. It's about dealing with a situation that's difficult and not just taking the first thing that comes to mind as a solution, but thinking about it like a puzzle and saying, okay, I could do this, I could also do this, I could also do that, and then picking the best one out of those using your intuition and your ingenuity. Okay. So yeah, a very, very positive month. Don't get triggered by whatever this is, and think of new ways of kind of dealing with it. And you're going to, you know, find that it's going to work out a lot better. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart or your chart analyzed, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Cancer and or the 4th house. Okay, interesting. So the card that popped out for you as a theme for this relationship situation in April here is the reversed Ace of Wands. And, you know, wands all have to deal with, you know, energy. They have to do with, you know, they rule the element of fire. So they rule all sorts of energy, physical, mental, and emotional energy. The other thing that this rules is like our inner fire and our inspiration. It could be like passion. So what I feel like is for you, North Nodes in Cancer, there's a relationship that you're dealing with in April. And it could be in an intimate partnership. It could be friends, family, work relationship where it's lost its like kind of sparkle or passion or inspiration, or kind of, there's some like there's an energy drop within this relationship. And it could like feel weird. It could feel like a little bit stale. There could be issues regarding that. Now, one of the first, inclinations that you and the other person in this relationship might have is there could be this thing of like, wanting to move away from the relationship emotionally. And this reversed Eight of Cups is saying like, that's not the right answer. For most of you, it's not about like needing to get away for them or you, but it has to be dealt with. And there's something that is still of value within this relationship, whatever it is. I mean, obviously, some relationships we can't actually walk away from them, but we can walk away from most of our relationships on an emotional and mental level. Okay. So what this is saying is you're not walking away from this relationship physically, mentally, or emotionally. It's not the right time to do that, but it's time to make sense of what's going on emotionally, because as I said, it's lost its luster, okay, whatever this relationship is. And it even could be like a friend relationship too. So what needs to happen is you've got this Empress card here, and you've got the reversed Seven of Pentacles. First and foremost, what has to happen is that both parties have to allow patience to come in. Okay, so this is talking about patience, about waiting for things to develop, waiting for things to grow, not being impatient and walking away prematurely, or making very impulsive decisions about the relationship situation. It's about being patient, waiting for things to develop. And what you're waiting for things to develop this is about honoring of the self. Essentially, what this is talking about here with this Empress card is ruled by the planet Venus, because you can see the Venus sigil down here on this stone heart. This is about, self-esteem. It's about self-worth, okay? And it's about making sure that, you are honoring yourself, and that others in relationship are also honoring you. But we're doing the same. We're honoring others. This is about when we honor ourselves individually, we expect that also from our relationships. But that's at the core of it. This is what needs to happen. But one of the questions that is coming up for me is, how do you feel about yourself? What are your good qualities? What are you bringing that's good to the relationship? Do you actually love yourself? Do you honor yourself? Because we really can't expect to get love and honor from the world if we're not giving it first to ourselves, right? So that's the number one question to ask. And it could be that you do honor yourself, and maybe this other person in this relationship isn't honoring you. Well, that's something that has to be addressed. You might have to, demand that, look, I don't feel like I'm being honored in this relationship. Or are you fully kind of honoring them and who they are? But essentially what this is doing is not feeling honored in the relationship is what's causing this drop in energy and passion. And so in order to reignite whatever this relationship is, okay, even if it's friend or family, you need to go back to the thing like, are you honoring me? Are you respecting me? Am I doing that to you? That's the core of it. And then once that is fixed, if it can be fixed, which I think it can, then the energy will come back into the relationship. So sometimes what we do a lot as humans is we try to fix the thing that's wrong, which is the energy, but we need to go to the core of the issue, which is what I'm talking about here, where it's like being patient and like going through this and like, Why are you respecting me? Are you honoring who I am? Am I doing that to you? Am I honoring myself? Also, the other person that you could be dealing with might not have a lot of self-esteem. A lot of times, the people that are really hard to deal with in our life are people that don't love themselves, that don't have self-love or don't honor themselves, and that reflects out into the world and how they treat other people. So that's the thing to fix. But what I'm seeing in this relationship is that it's not something that needs to be disposed of. It's something that can be worked through, but this is the core of the issue. And when you work on the core of the issue, which is, honoring the self, honoring them, they honor you, that core self-esteem issue, self-love issue, that's going to be a lot of, and it's going to take some patience, but it's something that's going to help work this through. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, or if you would like your astrological chart analyzed, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Leo and or the 5th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out is the 5 of Cups reversed. Now, all of the 5 cards, when they're reversed, are cards that are positive. They're cards that are moving from something that is challenging into something more positive. And what this is saying is that in April here, the relationship that is coming up for you has its roots in the past. So something has happened emotionally negatively in the past regarding this relationship. It could be both with you and this other person, or it could be individually, both of you, have an issue that goes back into your past that's like an emotional wounding. Now, I feel like this is in the process of trying to heal, but there still needs to be more work that needs to be done. And I think that there's going to be positive movement forward regarding that. But I do have some heads up of how it's going to get better. So as I said, this is something that could be between you and another that's an old, emotional wounding that is in the process of healing. But like I said, more work needs to be done. Now, the card that is showing kind of what needs to be done and where it's heading is the Ace of Swords. Now, swords rule not only our mental capacity, but they also rule communication. And I feel like that straightforward, what really wants to happen regarding this relationship situation is some honest, straightforward, like this is like the sword of truth, honest, straightforward communication. Positive communication, not negative communication, but straight to the point, like no beating around the bush, like let's just be honest about this, like clarity, okay? Now, the other thing that this is saying is, remember, your North Node is in the 5th house and or Leo, so that means your South Node's in Aquarius or the 11th house. So you might have the tendency to be slightly emotionally detached in situations. I think that is positive in this situation. I think that's when your South Node is helping you. I feel like clear, unemotional communication is going to help you in this situation, making sure that you're hearing what that other person is saying and getting them to say what they need to say and communicate what they need to communicate, and also you listening, but it has to go both ways. That is what's gonna happen. And I feel like that is something that's gonna be, you're gonna see, even if it's not completely solved this month, I think you're gonna see movement forward. But just remember, the key is clear communication that doesn't have a huge emotional twinge to it, okay? Now, the bottom line on these issues are, you've got the World card upright, which is amazing to get, and you've got the King of Cups. So the World card in any reading, especially when it's upright, is amazing. I feel like there could be with this relationship a possible like final breakthrough where, you know, you can get through this and you at least find out like more clarity of where they're coming from. They can finally find out where you're coming from through this communication. So there's this huge breakthrough that could happen. And even more than that, I feel like this particular relationship this month is like a catalyst, and it's like something that's connected to a lot of your life happiness. Like I feel like even if this is just like a family relationship or something to do with your intimate partnership or a friend or something, I feel like it's going to have like greater flow and go out into your life in a positive way. So it has a bigger context than just like, you know, this particular place in time. And with this this King of Cups, what this is saying is that one of the things that as you're going to know when you're in the right place, when after the communication is said, and this is going to be key, right? How you know your relationships are on the right track is when things are clearly communicated back and forth. At the end of that, how do you feel? That is key. How does the other person feel? Okay. But first and foremost, you ask, how do you feel? Like if you are communicating and you think you understand where they're coming from, and then, you know, you think that they understand where you're coming from and you thought the communication was good, check in with yourself. How do you feel? Because if it feels weird still, okay, there's more work to be done. So that's what really is the key, is how does it feel after the words? How does it feel after the interactions? Okay. And if you check in with yourself, if it feels, because we all know how it feels when we finally put something aside, when we, you know, shake hands with someone or we make up with someone and we feel like they're sincere and we're sincere and you can feel it, right? We also know the opposite of that. We know that when we kind of make up with someone, but it doesn't quite feel right, and we leave the interaction with like a question mark, okay? So that's the thing you want to make sure, is that you're going to know when it's solved because it's going to feel right in your heart. And see, that is the good use of this like Leo North node, which is connecting to the heart, you know, in your fifth house, which is connected to your emotions, and using them as a barometer or like a scale of how the relationships in your life are working out. So always go to that last thing. When you end an interaction with somebody in a relationship, no matter what was said or done, even if it sounds good on paper, right? How does it feel? And then you're going to know. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. If you'd like a personal tarot reading on your relationship or anything else in your life based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Virgo and or the 6th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Star card. And when I saw this card, I was thinking that for you North Nodes in Virgo and or the 6th house, this relationship that's happening in April is something that is karmic in nature. I feel like whatever this relationship is, whether it is intimate partnerships, work, friends, family, whatever it is, I feel like it has to do something with possibly even a past life, like karmic issues that are here, right? And so whenever we have something in our life, because not every single thing in our life has to do with karma, you know, because we're living our life, but when it does come up, it's very important. It's very important that we are taking it to another level. We're not repeating like kind of negative karma. And I feel like that's what this is. I feel like this is a leveling up, and that like karmic issues could be getting settled, you know, regarding this. Now the card that popped out for you as far as the overall situation is, you've got this two of swords here. And I feel like the relationship, within the relationship, there is like this, like a emotional, mental disconnect between you and this other person. And the way through this is, we're going to get to in a minute, but there definitely is this connection where both parties, or one party, doesn't feel like the other person is understanding them or getting them, or they could be closed off in some way where they're like shutting down, like maybe they're afraid, or they're shutting off their heart because they've been emotionally hurt a bunch of times, or it could come from you, right? So as I said, both parties or one party, there's this disconnect, and not being able to connect on an emotional and mental level. And the thing is that I feel like this is where your south node in Pisces, or the 12th house, is really going to play in. And that's why I say it's karmic, because the way out is tapping into some of that past life wisdom that you have. Now, always remember, even though we're moving toward our north node by sign and house, there are positive gifts that are in our south node. And we do bring those, okay, into this lifetime, but they have to be used at the right time and in the proper measure. And I feel like this is a time where, this can kind of help you, this past life wisdom, through this situation. Now, your two bottom line cards here are, you've got the 10 of Cups upright, emotional fulfillment, and you've got this Page of Wands, okay? Wands ruling fire and energy. One of the things that you keeping in mind with this relationship situation is, ultimately what both of you want, whether this be any sort of relationship in your life, right? Intimate partnerships or other, what you're looking for is emotional fulfillment. Like, that's the bottom line. And I know that sounds basic, but sometimes we forget about that. Sometimes what we need to be reminded is that really a lot of times we want the same things that the other person wants. Like, we don't want to have trouble. We don't want to have problems. We want the same thing. What we're all looking for at a core level, all of us, no matter who we are on this earth, ultimately we want emotional fulfillment. Okay, that's what we all may go in a million different ways to find that, and many people take wrong directions to find their fulfillment, but essentially at a core level, that's what we want. So the reason that's important is, within this relationship, if you stand back and ask yourself, okay, I'm going to stand back and I'm going to get a big perspective, and that's the key. One of the gifts you have is the key for a larger perspective. Now, even though in this lifetime you're a Virgo north node, and you're sick, or a sixth house north node, you're being asked to focus more. You always have the gift of seeing the big picture. So when you stand back and ask yourself, okay, we both want emotional fulfillment, okay, but what does this person really want? What do they want that's going to give them emotional fulfillment? When you stand back and do that, and you back up from the situation momentarily, then that allows them, you see it from their perspective, and then they may need to do the same with you. Like, you need to maybe tell them what it is you're looking for, how your emotional fulfillment's going to come, what your needs are, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, type of a thing. And so that's what this card is saying, is like essentially realizing that you're both after the same thing. So you need to back up and like see the bigger picture, see what they're looking for and what you're looking for. And then with this, this Page of Wands is saying is that this is going to infuse new energy. But what really needs to happen with this relationship is, it's at a standstill, and you need to back up, and by doing this, you need to infuse more energy, like but positive energy, like more inspiration. It means like it needs more like passion, just energy in general. It needs more. You need to backtrack and go toward pages are about communication. Things have to be communicated in a direct way, but a passionate way. But also, like I said, things have could have in this relationship gotten a little cold. Sometimes when there's a back and a forth in a relationship situation that goes down a certain like dark alley or down a cold basement, it's like you got to backtrack, because you got to backtrack, and then let's like start over, let's like look at this thing from a new perspective. And so that's really what I'm seeing here, is that essentially this two of swords is saying, there's an impasse. We're at a crossroads, we're at a dead end type of a thing. So in this whole thing needs to be backtracked, and these are some of the ways to do it. But when you do this and you back up and you see the bigger perspective, you see what they're looking for as far as emotional fulfillment, and then re-energize. That's what this is saying. Re-energize the relationship. You can get through this. It is possible to get through this. And essentially what you're doing is you're using your past life skills from Pisces and the 12th house to help heal this. Because whether you know it or not, if you have a north or a south node in Pisces or the 12th house, you're a natural healer, both mentally, emotionally, and even physically sometimes. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading on your relationship or anything else in your life, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Libra and or the 7th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for April for your relationship reading is the 10 of Swords. Now, this is a card that, it kind of scares people when they see it, but really what it's about is it's about endings. It's about something that has reached its limit. There's nowhere else to go with it. And so it has to change and evolve, okay? When, we get to a point in certain relationships where in our lives where it doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship has to end, but the way that the relationship has been has to end. And that's what this is saying, is that for all of you, there's some aspect in your life with a relationship or relationships that there's really nowhere else to go with it. It has to change in some way. There's no more kind of wiggle room or leeway. And so it has to change. What has to change is going to be, different for each of you. Do you have to change? Do they have to change? But something within the relationship dynamic has to evolve or change, because there's nowhere else to go. Now, the positive of this card is that I always bring up is that, it's like every night has its dawn, type of a thing. And this always shows here on this card that there is a sunrise after the dark night of the soul. Okay, once we go through something, we're able to evolve. Now, as I said, that doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It can be very positive. Sometimes, people go through really challenging things in relationships, and when they go through it and they realize, it kind of, plays itself out to the very bottom, it can only go up from there. And that's kind of the energy that I'm feeling in this. The interesting thing is the card of where it's heading is you've got the 4 of Swords here. Now, what's interesting is you see these swords where, this one is kind of coming down looking very ominous on this individual. And then this one, the 4 of Swords is a card of mental ease, of meditation, of relaxation, mentally. And so they can be what I'm seeing for you is that you're realizing that a relationship has to change, and there is a relief in that. Because you're realizing, okay, we've tried everything. Now this has to change in some way and evolve. And as I said, for each of you, that's going to mean something different. But the end result is when something reaches its final limit, when we, in a relationship, there is this like kind of relief that happens. Now, how this is going to come about is your bottom line cards. You've got the 6 of Pentacles, and you've got the Knight of Cups. we'll start with the Knight of Cups. Okay, remember where you're coming from in your energy field is you have a south node in Aries, or the first house, right? Okay, this is ruled by Mars. Okay, and you just recently went through quite a bit with the north node in Aries the last like year and a half, and so it did trigger a lot of you, because that will kind of trigger that kind of north node, or south node, whether it's in Libra and or Aries. But what wants to happen is that this is like a new quest for you. Okay, what you're realizing is that you see the knight here riding on the horse, right? When we think of knights, we generally think of combat. You think of Knights of the Round Table. You think of medieval knights. You think of combat. But there's no weapon here other than this knight is holding the cup, okay, which is the cup of their emotional intelligence. And knights are about a quest. Your new quest is putting down weapons, okay, regarding relationships and regarding this relationship, and opening up your heart. Okay, that's the way forward. Now that's the only thing that you need to be concerned of, is like search your heart, because for you in this lifetime, it's all about being the peacemaker. And I know that a lot of you maybe don't want to hear that. There could be something. It doesn't mean you have to give in all the time or that you are necessarily in the wrong. But just keep in mind that you're not going to go through life and win in relationships being combative or using that Mars Aries energy. Okay, it's not going to work, because remember your north node's in Venus, okay, ruled by the planet, or your north node's in Libra, ruled by the planet Venus, right? Now what that means is that your weapon is going to be an open heart. Okay, and that's how you have to approach all relationships. Okay, it doesn't mean being weak, but it means that it actually takes more strength to be open-hearted and to say, approach things without needing to use that kind of Mars energy. Okay, now the Six of Pentacles is really interesting, because it's showing that this is the power of tapping into this heart energy. And this card has come up before in different readings over the years, and with clients that I have a lot of times, with their south node in Aries or the first house. And what this is that this is showing, yes, it's a card of, it looks like giving money or coins out to somebody. But what this is really saying is that the art of being open-hearted and giving emotionally puts you in a position of strength. So this is a really important thing for you to always remember in relationships. When a Libra north node, or north node in the 7th house, is able to do things like true forgiveness, admit when they're wrong, say they're sorry, be able to give in and maybe see the other side of a person's argument that's on the other side. Okay, that is a position of power. Okay, and so what you're evolving to in this lifetime is it doesn't mean that and it can feel weak though, that's the thing, but you're not being weak in this, you're actually being stronger. It takes more strength to be open-hearted and forgiving. For people, in this world where, we live in a world where it's, very, very spicy, nations and people are always like fighting and squabbling and all of that. Okay, it's really easy to use the base level of, anger and all. There is a time and a place for that. There is definitely, but it does take a lot more strength to be the peacemaker. And that's really what you're here to do. You're not here to be abused or stepped on. And so if you have a relationship where you're getting abused, but you are here to be the peacemaker and compromise. And that means that there's times when, to get along, we have to kind of say we're sorry or whatever. And the thing I'm trying to, help you realize is that even though it seems counterintuitive and it seems like that's a weak position, like, oh, I don't want to give in. I don't want to say I'm sorry. They need to say they're sorry first, or whatever it is. It's actually, it does take more strength, and it takes, that is part of your evolution, is you're becoming the enlightened leader, the enlightened person who is the king or the queen, who is the benevolent leader. And whether that be in a family situation, in friends, in love relationship, or in a company, that's kind of what the evolution of this is. And by doing that, you'll always keep your strength, and actually you're going to get stronger. So however this plays out, just remember, is there opportunity for forgiveness? Is there an opportunity to be the strong one that is the peacemaker? Is there an opportunity to be the one that forgives first? Okay. And when you do that, even on a small scale, it could be something then, like I said, in an important intimate relationship in your life. It could be something in, a work, family, friend relationship. But however that plays out, remember that you are exerting great, great strength by being able to do this. And what it's going to give you is it's going to give you this peace of mind that's found on the Four of Swords. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Scorpio and or the 8th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out for you is the Two of Pentacles. And, this is a card of, yes, it could be like, juggling things of value, juggling, even like, money, finances, investments. It also, it can be things of value like juggling our time and what we are giving to something in a, relationship. It also can be like a give or take type of an energy. When we juggle things, it's like, okay, what am I getting of value out of something in a relationship? What are they getting, and weighing it out and kind of judging. And that's kind of where I think this is going with this, is like, it's like weighing things out. You're looking at a relationship and you're seeing what it is like. Is it a fair and even relationship? Is this relationship in your life, and it could be friends, family, intimate relationship, work relationship, or is it a balanced? Are you getting what you need of value out of it? Are they getting what they need of value? The reason I also say that is because you've got this Justice card, and again we've got this idea of balance here, because the Sword of Justice and the Sword of Truth is here, and then they have the scale here, the scales here, right, which is weighing things out. And so that's something where for each of you, it's going to be different. Like you're looking at things of like, in this relationship, could be multiple relationships for some of you, but for April, you're looking at what it is you're getting out of something and what you're giving. And is this equal? Does it make sense? Is it something to where do you need to give more in certain areas of your life, some things that of value? Now, even for some of you, this could also have to do with actual money and finances, okay? But definitely it's something of value. It's like, this kind of give and take of value. Now, the underlying cards for this reading are, you've got the Ace of Cups reversed, and you've got the Queen of Swords reversed. So what I'm seeing here is that the Queen of Swords, okay, all of the court cards, so the King, Queen, Knights, and Pages, can be actual like people in our life, or they can be energies. And I feel like this Queen of Swords is representing an actual person, in your life. And the Queen of Swords traditionally is known as like kind of a difficult character, okay? So there could be something in a relationship where could be like, some mean things that are said, or mean things that have been done, or not nice things that have been done, and it could be causing some, within communication. It could be through just kind of the whole vibe of this relationship. And so I think that for all of you, there's a relationship or multiple relationships where you're seeing it from the light of weighing things out. Like, what am I really getting out of this? So, like, as an example, there's sometimes where we have relationships in our life, and let's take it like a family member, okay, off the top of my head. Now, obviously, for most of us, we can't easily just kind of blow up a family member relationship, especially if they're close, right? We have to deal with them. I mean, sometimes we can, but like a lot of times we just have to deal with them because they're family and we have to deal with them, right? But at some point, we come to a realization that, like, for example, I can't do it this way anymore. Okay, what am I really getting out of this? So what you may want to do is you may want to say, okay, I am not going to invest as much time with this person as I once was. Time and or any other thing of value that you may be giving. Okay, this could be like, for example, a parent with a child that we're giving too much, or whatever it is, right? But I think that there's some sort of an imbalance you're going to realize in this relationship regarding this Queen of Swords. And it's finally going to hit you. Now, the way it's going to hit you is, this is interesting. This is tapping into your North Node in Scorpio, and or the 8th house. Because one of the gifts that you're here to develop in this lifetime with this Scorpio energy is the gift of being the investigator, of going into a situation, because like when you have good Scorpio energy and good 8th house energy, it's like you walk into a room or you talking to a person, and no matter what's being done or said, you go right underneath and see what the truth is because you feel it. And so I think that what's going to happen is finally it's going to hit you on the emotional side of yourself. It's going to hit your intuition, where you're going to see this relationship for what it is. And, as I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship has to get blown up. But once you see it for what it is, then for each of you, you can make the proper decisions in what way to move forward. But what I'm saying is that I don't feel like you saw the truth of this relationship before. You didn't fully see the truth. You might have had like little inklings of it, but now you're going to finally kind of see the truth of it, and then you'll each know kind of what to do. But the interesting thing is that it's going to come from your intuition. This is that your North Node in the 8th house of Scorpio, as I said, the investigator, the researcher, the archaeologist, the detective. You're able to go in deep and see what's in the undercurrents, right? Now, the other reason that this card is come up and it's come up reversed is it could hurt a little bit, okay? Or it's not going to feel good when you know that. Like when a relationship in our life gets exposed for what it truly is. And all of us, if we think back on our life, mostly all of us have experienced that, where we see a relationship and we kind of finally wake up and see it for what it is. And it's not fun, okay? But that's part of it. That what I want you to do is I want you to be happy and celebrate that, because that means that the way you figured out this relationship was through the skills that you're building through your North Node. That's how you're doing it, because your South Node in Taurus, or the 2nd house, which is just looking at stuff, hey, I just want to chill, everything's surface level, let's not get too deep into things. Okay, that's not what's helping you discover it. It's your North Node that's helping you discover this. So I want you to feel good about it, even though it's going to hurt. When you're going to see that it's a skill, and this is how you're going to approach relationships in the future, because you're going to listen to yourself and you're going to see people and relationships early on for what they are, and you're going to see that it's going to help help you avoid quite a bit of discomfort and pain in the future. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Sagittarius and or the 9th house. Okay, interesting. The theme card that popped out for your relationship reading for April is the Hanged Man reversed. And what I'm thinking is that there is a relationship in your life for you, Sag, North Nodes and or the 9th house, where you feel like the relationship, it feels like you're stuck or tied up in a certain way. Like, for example, it could be, as I said, it could be any relationship in our life, but we'll take it from like a work relationship. We can have a relationship with work or someone at work where we feel tied to it, like our hands are tied because, let's say we need the income from that job, but we're working with someone difficult, maybe a difficult supervisor, but it could be any relationship in our life where we feel like confined or we can't move, like we don't feel like we can get through it and go on to something kind of new. So you feel stuck in this certain relationship. And as I said, it could be friends, family, intimate relationship, or like a work relationship. And what really wants to happen is the way out of it is, you're feeling stuck, is to see things in a new way. There's a certain way, it's almost like, it's like a puzzle that needs to be solved. Like when you look at this situation and this relationship in a new way, it will give you the answers. It's like maybe you're only looking at it from like a couple different aspects, but you need to like kind of look at it until you see the way out, because the way out is just going to happen through perspective, right? Now let's look at your cards over here that talk more about the details. So your end result card of where it's going is, and part of your answers are going to be found in the 9 of Wands. And, this is a card of learning from experiences, learning what did we learn from past experiences. And one of the things that's going to help you in this, in understanding whatever this relationship is going to be thinking about how things have played out in the past. Like, it's almost like looking at, if it is a work relationship, looking at going back in time in your mind and thinking, okay, how has this played out? What have I learned from this? And because when we play things back in our mind in a relationship, we can get clarity. So let's say this is in another relationship, like friends, family, or intimate partnerships. When we go through things in relationships, we just keep going forward and we're just worried about what kind of things are happening within the present moment or just recently. So when we step back, and again, perspective, when we step back and we think to ourselves, okay, how have we gotten to this point? Okay, in this relationship, how have we gotten here? And by asking that question, by standing back, what you're doing is you're getting that different perspective, because we can be so caught up in everything that's going on within a relationship that we don't see it clearly. And so how you're going to get the clarity is by stopping and saying like, okay, well, let's go back. Okay, let's say it's 2-3 years or whatever. Okay, this is how it's happened. And you're going to see, okay, what did I do? What did this other person do? How did this play out? Like, and when you do that by replaying that, that's where the learning comes in. So you're going to know what way to take the information that you're being given. So the way out of this is to get that kind of perspective. This is interesting too, because this plays right into your North Node in Sagittarius, or the 9th house, which is, one of the things is finding your truth in this lifetime, or being able to distinguish the truth, and finding the way, your way through this world, okay? Because it can be confusing when you have this North Node because of that Gemini or 3rd house South Node. It's like, it can be like a fog, because we can get bogged down with all too much information type of a thing. And so that's why this clarity is like super important, where we kind of pause and kind of see what has happened. Now, your 2 cards that are kind of underlining this are, you've got the Ace of Swords reversed, and you've got the Devil card, okay, upright. Now, the Devil card, I always explain the so-called scary cards in the tarot. It's nothing to fear, okay? The Devil card is about, internal fears in our mind, and also it could be like anxiety or addictions, addicted way to being. Now, for some of you, this relationship might have something to do with addiction. Now, when I talk about addictions and the Devil card, it doesn't just mean like addicted to substances, okay? That could be, but we could be addicted to a lot of things. We could be addicted to even work. Someone that, and this is a relationship where there are people that are workaholics, right? It could be addicted to ways of being, ways of thinking. It could be, people get addicted to, things that are on the internet, right? Or, even like food or whatever. So it's not necessarily like any sort of substances, right? So some of you might be dealing with that. Others of you might be addicted to, sometimes we could be addicted in relationships to like drama or things. The interesting thing about this card is, I always like to point out, if you look at the people that are on this card, they're chained to these stone blocks in front of the Devil, and they're not in any sort of distress or pain. The reason is because a lot of times we don't understand what is keeping us, what's holding us back. So they're not actively being like, messed with this card. It's like, we don't know what sometimes how things and fears and anxieties can be holding us back. And so that's one of the things that you're going to realize when you kind of retroactively look back. You're going to look back on, how did this make you feel? Or is this relationship, is it healthy for you? Maybe it has to change in some way. And then with this, this Ace of Swords is interesting reversed, because one of the things that this is saying is, in this relationship, and this is very critical for you regarding this in April, is make sure that you are keeping the communication within this relationship very clear and as non-combative as possible, okay? So that means when you are communicating, because the swords are, and you're thinking about the way things happen, swords are about communication and also the intellect and the mind. When you're communicating through text, either, verbally, through email, whatever this is for you in this relationship, watch the communication. Make sure that it does not get combative. Choose your words carefully, because it can be adding extra fuel to the situation that shouldn't be there, type of a thing, okay? So what you're doing is you're getting perspective through this relationship by standing back and reviewing how everything's played out. Look at your, situation to where, what kind of anxiety and stress is it causing you? Could we be in both parties in this relationship be kind of addicted to the drama, or is there some sort of other addiction going on here? Even like ways of being, like I said. And then again, make sure that the communication doesn't get spicy, okay? Because it's not going to help you in this situation. You want to keep it very clear. And this is where your Gemini South Node can be very helpful, okay? Your third house, because, you know, the third house in Gemini rule communication, okay? The planet Mercury. So use your communication very, very wisely and cleverly, and you'll be able to get through this. But this is all about learning about this relationship in order to free you up in your life, because I feel like what this is saying is that this relationship, it's going in a way that is keeping you tied down in some way. And that doesn't mean that the relationship can't go on, but it does have to transform in some way, because it does seem to be kind of holding you back in some way, okay? So just remember to keep that communication open and non-combative. Look at it from a big perspective, and you'll be able to figure this out. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Capricorn and or the 10th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out is the reversed Six of Pentacles. And, you know, yes, this is a card of, you know, giving and receiving, okay? And we could be talking about things of a monetary nature, you know, money, finances, but it's really about anything of value. Things that we give our love. Our love is valuable. Our time is valuable. So anything that's valuable. And what I think is that is happening here is that in April, there's a relationship that you North Nodes in Capricorn and or the 10th house are experiencing, where there seems to be an imbalance in giving and receiving and give and take, okay? And that means that, you know, yeah, for some of you, it could be that maybe you're giving too much and you're not getting enough out. For others, it could be that, you know, you're the one that isn't giving enough or into whatever relationship this is. And so that for each of you, you're going to have to figure out what that is. But there's definitely some sort of kind of imbalance that needs to happen in this relationship. And as I said, this could be in any kind of relationship in your life, right? And when you cure this imbalance, okay, you're going to see that things are going to improve, okay? The reason I also say balance is because when I look down at your cards here, you've got the Justice card here. And the Justice card, you know, two things on this card. There's the Sword of Truth, and there is also the Scales, which is about balance, right? And so this is about being fair, justice. What is just, what isn't just. And so that is what you're going to have to figure out, is what is happening within this relationship dynamic. Is it because for a healthy relationship, there has to be a good give and take. Like we're certain things that we need out of relationships with others. There's certain things that others need out of relationships with us. So you're going to have to kind of figure that out. But what this is causing is this imbalance in this relationship is causing it to kind of be stuck or stagnate in some way. And so it's almost like it needs to be kind of cleared in order to kind of move forward. Some examples of this is like, let's say in a work situation, because your North Node's in Capricorn and or the 10th house, right? So this lifetime for a lot of you, it's really about kind of work and career, it should be, or like, you know, becoming, you know, independent in some way and moving out from the comforts of home, right? That's what this is. So we'll take work, for example. So maybe that there's something being stuck because maybe what you're doing for work and career isn't giving you what you need. There's an imbalance. Maybe you're giving too much within that. Or maybe you're not giving enough to that, and maybe that's why promotions aren't happening, or you're, for whatever reason, there's an imbalance there. Or this could be in like personal relationships where there's some sort of an imbalance, like you keep giving and giving and giving, and the other person is taking and not kind of balancing it out. So as I said, for each of you, it's different. Now, the reason I say that it's staying stuck and stagnating are these two cards here. You've got the Six of Swords reversed, and you've got the Eight of Wands reversed. So these are cards of movement. You see the people on the boat here, and they're trying to move away from, troubled water. They're trying to move away from, negativity, but the boat is reversed. It's not moving forward. It could be moving backwards. It could be going in circles. And so it's causing this to stagnate. The other thing that this card is saying is that this situation can be weighing on you mentally and emotionally. It's not making you feel good being stuck in this kind of pattern, okay? And so that's another reason why we have to figure this out. We have to figure out, what do we need to do? Do we need to where's the imbalance, and we need to cure it somehow, right? Now, the other reason this is keeping you stuck is you've got this reversed Eight of Wands. And again, this is a card of movement. When it's forward, the wands are moving and going, forward, and they're going in a positive direction. When it's reversed, they could be going backwards, they're not going at all. But this is also a card of changing direction. And so that's really what has to happen in this, is that ultimately when you find out where the imbalance is in this relationship, it's about making changes, so changing direction. But this relationship that's referring in this month of April, it can't go on like it is. It has to change in some way. So the direction has to change. And when it does, and you can do this, when you figure out where the imbalance is, you make the necessary changes, you're going to see that it's going to free you up, and you're going to go in this positive direction. The image that I got in my mind as I was thinking of this stuckness is kind of how, like, during heavy rains and storms, how like a storm drain can get clogged with debris, and then the water backs up. That's what popped into my mind. And, when you clear the blockage, and the water is able to flow, the water goes down, people can cross the road, all of that stuff. So I just feel like there's this blockage right now, and it's because the blockage is causing, or the imbalance is causing this blockage. And so once that's cleared, you're going to see that the water and levels are going to subside, and things are going to flow a lot better, because I'm seeing this whole image of like flowing better in your life, okay? So figure out where this imbalance is happening in this relationship, and you're going to feel a lot better when you make the necessary changes. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Aquarius and or the 11th house. Okay, interesting. So the theme card that popped out is the Chariot card, and I feel like that there is actually, this is a positive, because I feel like there is this relationship in your life for you North Nodes in Aquarius and or the 11th house, where I feel like a breakthrough is happening, and I feel like it's like moving forward because of everything that you've learned regarding this relationship, and you're able to move forward. Now, for each of you, it's going to look different. Some of you are going to move forward and you've solved it. Some of you just can see the way forward in this relationship. But I feel like there's going to be this whole kind of other aspect that's opening up. The other thing is that this could be even for I don't know, even like for like new relationships. But I feel like there's a multi-layered thing, or a multi-tiered thing that's happening. So I feel like there's going to be this breakthrough regarding a relationship in your life where you've learned something, right? But when you go up to that next tier or that next level, it's still going to be moving forward, but there's something else to learn about it. Okay, so it's really interesting. It's like you have a breakthrough, and this could have happened even like a couple of weeks or months prior, where there's this breakthrough that's happened in this relationship. But then when you get to that next level, there's something else for you to learn about it. Now, we'll get some more clarity. We'll look at your relationship cards here. You've got the Moon upright, you've got the Strength card reversed, and you've got the Nine of Cups card reversed. So what the Moon is pointing out here is that emotionally within this relationship with yourself and the other person or people, there is something emotionally that still needs to be uncovered. Okay. And that's what I mean by that second tier. It's like a lot of times when we move forward in relationships, it doesn't just go from like, stop, standstill, stop, and then full bore. Sometimes it's like, it's just like anything else that's like a vehicle, right? Where sometimes, it starts for a bit, you maybe move down the road a bit, and then there's a pause, right? And that's kind of what this is. It's not going forward, but you're making progress, but there's still something that's hidden that needs to be discovered, okay? And that is, how you're going to do that is by keep moving forward and pushing forward in what you've been doing in this. So maybe you've made progress in a relationship, a certain amount of progress, but you're going to find out there's more work to be done. So just keep doing what you've been doing as long as it's moving forward, okay? So how this is going to play out is, I feel like there is, with these two cards here, there's something definitely on the emotional level that still isn't quite right. Like the Nine of Cups here reversed, okay, is about emotional fulfillment, or in this case, lack thereof. And then the Strength card reversed this could be like, nurturing and care, having the strength also to, be the strong partner, or, in any sort of relationship. But there's a feeling within this relationship where there's something not quite right emotionally. And I feel like it can be solved, but you need to go kind of deeper. Now, the emotional fulfillment side is that the thing is that a lot of times we make progress in a relationship and we get to another level, but it's still not quite right. But we might feel kind of weird because it's like we've made a certain amount of progress and we feel like, well, I don't want to say anything or do anything because it might erase the progress that we've made. But at the one or more people within the relationship might not feel like emotionally fulfilled in it, right? And it's like, but both parties recognize that there's been progress made, and it doesn't feel right. So there could be like kind of, making excuses or bypassing or putting on, a happy face type of a thing. That's the kind of energy that I'm seeing, is that don't be afraid to keep pushing, being honest emotionally, and keep pushing for that, because this is going to really help you. Okay, this is part of this of this aspect of your North Node, which is to, work with people at a level that is something that where you're not going to settle for just, something that isn't working. This is about when we have a healthy tribe. Okay, the 11th house rules organizations, families, all sorts of relationships. When we want it to be healthy, we have to make sure that we don't leave any kind of loose ends emotionally. Okay, that's what this is saying. So keep pushing forward. Don't settle for something, and don't be afraid to kind of wait till you finally both parties feel that it's being emotionally fulfilled for them within that relationship. That's what I'm saying. Now, the Strength card reverse, as I said, there could be a lot more like TLC that needs to be added to this relationship. This is the work that needs to be done. Like, we need to, like, gently but strongly go through this and have the courage to say, okay, we've made progress, but we're not quite there yet. Okay. And that's what you don't have to, you can approach it in a very, kind of loving way. Both parties can do that. But we have to make sure that when we move forward in our relationships, that they are emotionally fulfilling for everyone involved. And that's all this is saying. So that's what I'm seeing for you, is that, you hit this next level, there's progress made, but don't just like stay there. Have the courage to say, okay, I'm going to gently kind of explore this, see what's hidden under the surface. And that's going to be through questions and, talking to the other person, being open-hearted, which you're good at, okay, because you have this South Node in Leo and or the 5th house, right? So just keep that open-heartedness and have the courage to keep moving forward and uncover what is hidden emotionally within this relationship, and you'll be able to move forward. But I do see positive movement forward as long as you are taking the effort to not stay at the level you're at now, but keep moving forward. Anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings. Okay, North Node in Pisces and or the 12th house. Okay, interesting. So yeah, this is your time, Pisces, North nodes right now, right? So, the collective North nodes in Pisces. So this is your graduation time. This is, you're evolving to the highest, best version of yourself. But this month in April, okay, so for your relationship reading, it could be a little bit intense. Now, what I mean by that is that you've got this card, you got the 5 of Swords. And there's something that, for a lot of you, it's going to be something that has taken place in the past. I would say for a large number of you, large majority probably, it's something that happened in the past, or something that could be resurfacing, or even something new. But I feel like it's something that's in the past. The reason I say that is because of this 8 of Cups, which we'll get to, okay? But it's something when, the 5 of Swords is like, we're not going to mince words. It's something where you went through something in a relationship where something really kind of negative could have happened. Okay. So we could be dealing with people that were saying very unkind things. There could have been this whole thing of like, negative things were said and were done. Okay, everything from, dealing with someone that, anything from like bipolar to narcissism or something like that. Okay, it's not a pleasant card. And as I said, I feel like it's something that for most of you, it's happening in the past, which it could resurface. But this is important. It's important for your evolutionary process in your North Node. Because one of the things that, the North Node in Pisces, but especially the 12th house rules, is kind of, hidden adversaries or hidden enemies, right? And so this is something that, you need to find healing and closure from. And I think it could be kind of resurfacing right now. Now, your cards that are showing this are, you've got the 8 of Cups upright, you've got the 3 of Swords reversed, and you've got the 10 of Wands. So the 8 of Cups is, it's saying like, okay, this is upright. It's time to make sense of something emotionally. And to make sense of it, to heal and move on. Why do I say make sense? Because if you see this card, the card is showing these cups that are all neatly stacked. Someone intentionally stacked these cups neatly. That's making sense of your emotions in order to, move away from them. Now, what would be the opposite of that? It would mean something bad happens emotionally, and you just all the cups are strewn all over the ground, and you run away from it. Okay, but this is making sense and moving away from it, and moving away from it in a way that is healing. Okay, so one of the things about your North Node, okay, in Pisces and or the 12th house is Pisces rules experience, all sorts of experiences. This encompasses, encompasses the experiences of the universe, the expanse of the universe. And so it's important to be able to make sense of things emotionally in order for us to move on. We can't leave any emotional loose ends. So on the one hand, a lot of you, you could be replaying things from the past, but it's part of making sense of it so you can move on. And I do feel like you will move on from it. Now, what you have to do in order to do that is, with this Three of Swords reversed, and you got the Ten of Wands upright. Whatever happened in this relationship that was intense, it was causing burdens and stress, okay? And you can't carry those anymore. You have to move on. The Ten of Wands is you've carried these burdens long enough, and it's time to let them go. It happened. It was an experience. You have to ask yourself right now, if you are still right now experiencing some sort of, trauma, like direct trauma, then you have to deal with it. But if it's something that just happened that's causing you trauma, it's time to move away from it, okay? You have to really take into account where you're at right now. And that's what this Three of Swords is saying reversed. It's about releasing these hurts. It wasn't your fault. It was just an experience. It was for whatever reason in your life path that you needed to kind of go through that. And as I said, that's what the 12th house in Pisces is. It's really a key word is experience. You are here to have a wide variety and, spectrum of experiences, and you have to embrace that. And what you're doing is you're learning from that. You're learning very important gifts, even if they're difficult to learn, because in the future you will be able to help people, because you'll be able to say, I experienced that, and now I know what it is to do that. You went through it and you survived it. And that's the key, is like you went through it, you survived it, you made sense, but it's time to move on emotionally. And I think that that's what a lot of you are doing. So if these old experiences are kind of resurfacing, make sense of them and think of ways to release them. Okay, think of ways to release them. And, there's lots of ways, like you could research, how do I release old wounds, old emotional wounds and experiences, how to do that, okay? There's lots of different ways to do it, okay? And just explore that. Some of you might just say, okay, that's it, go cold turkey. You're just saying, I'm not going to carry this any longer. And some of you might do some sort of a releasing ritual where, one way to do it is you might, charge a stone, a pebble, some sort of a large stone. And maybe you write something briefly on a piece of paper and you wrap it around the stone and you toss it into a lake, and you write something to the effect of whatever it is you need to write on there about that experience, and just get rid of it. So little rituals like that could be very, very helpful in clearing it out. But as I said, there's lots of ways to do it. But I feel like, this is part of the work you need to do. And I feel like this is happening early in this Pisces North Node for the collective that we're going through right now, because to get rid of this, it's clearing up for other things, good things that are happening within this, Pisces North Node cycle that we're in. So it's time to kind of get rid of this and work on healing this. And when you do, it's just going to lighten things up within your energy field. So that energy is going to free you to go on to, way better things. And you're going to be able to use that energy that was once taken up, within your heart and your emotional field, with these other kind of negative things. So anyway, I hope this reading was helpful to you and you found some value in it. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like a personal tarot reading based on your astrological chart, there's going to be a link to my website in the description box below. With that, I'll say thank you. We'll see you on some more videos. Many blessings.